Welcome to Bite Size Podcast. Today we are talking about AI agents. These jobs won't exist in 24 months. The rapid rise of AI agents is sparking, well, a fascinating discussion, with some leading voices predicting massive job displacement incredibly soon.
It really is. What's striking is just the sheer pace. I mean, this isn't some gradual evolution we're talking about. The conversation has shifted incredibly quickly from, theoretical ideas to very real near-term impacts.
Absolutely. And for you, our listener, our mission with this deep dive is really to get you up to speed quickly, but thoroughly. We're trying to extract the key insights from these discussions around AI agents without, completely overwhelming you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. My own experience diving into AI agents has honestly been a bit mind-blowing.
How so?
Well, I had this moment using Replet. You can think of it as software that lets you build other software. And someone with absolutely zero coding skills, that's me, Iberia, I was able to create a working website, integrate online payments with Stripe, even add AI features, all within minutes. Seriously, minutes. I was up until maybe 3 or 4 in the morning, just completely absorbed. It honestly felt like I'd launched a software as a service business, where the app is hosted online without writing a single line of code.
What was the biggest takeaway for you from that? Was it just the speed?
It was the incredible accessibility, really. The barrier to actually building something functional just vanished. But then came the moment that really, honestly, kind of freaked me out.
Okay.
I tested a dedicated AI agent. I used one called Operator to order some water from a local CVS. Now, this wasn't just a chatbot like taking my request.
Right.
It autonomously handled the entire process, from picking the water using my saved credit card details. It even added a tip.
It added the tip itself.
Yeah. And then the delivery arrived, and I realized there had been absolutely zero human interaction on my part after the initial request. It felt, surreal.
That perfectly illustrates a really vital distinction, doesn't it? The difference between chatbots and true AI agents.
Right.
Chatbots generally work on a sort of request-response basis.
Yeah.
You ask, it answers or does a specific thing.
Yeah, like asking for the weather or, I don't know, summarizing an article.
Exactly. AI agents, though, they're designed to operate much more independently. They can work for potentially extended periods to achieve a specific goal you give them. And they can access various tools to help get there.
And these tools can be pretty powerful, right? We're talking about web browsers, programming environments like that Replet thing you mentioned.
Yes, and even financial tools like credit cards, as you saw.
Wow.
Precisely. The crucial element is the autonomy. The AI agent decides the steps needed and, importantly, determines when the task is actually finished.
Okay.
And get this, the time frame for how long they can operate autonomously. It's increasing incredibly fast, doubling roughly every 7 months, based on some observations.
7 months. So it goes from minutes to potentially hours, then days.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. One of the thinkers in this space described AI as crossing a pretty significant threshold, moving from what are called highly complicated systems to truly complex ones. Can you maybe break that down a bit?
Sure. Think of a highly complicated system, maybe like your computer or a car engine. It's incredibly intricate, lots of parts, but its behavior is ultimately predictable if you understand all those parts and how they interact.
Okay.
Truly complex systems, on the other hand, exhibit what scientists call emergent behavior. Their interactions lead to outcomes, to capabilities that weren't explicitly programmed in and are often fundamentally unpredictable.
So even though current AI is built on, the data it's trained on.
Exactly. Even based on that training data, the interactions between these AI agents, the feedback loops they create as they operate and learn, will almost certainly lead to capabilities we haven't anticipated. We might not even recognize them when they first appear.
It becomes less about preset responses and much more about a dynamic, evolving intelligence. So this shift to true complexity means we can't just, draw a straight line from today's AI to tomorrow's. The emergent behavior introduces genuine unpredictability.
That reminds me of this really powerful analogy someone shared. Think about New York City back in, say, 1900. Pictures from then. It's all horses and carts.
Right.
Fast forward just 13 years, 1913. Same streets. Suddenly it's almost all cars. The horses, which seemed indispensable for centuries, were just rapidly displaced.
This is a startling image.
And it makes you stop and wonder, okay, did this make me a horse in 1900? It's kind of a sobering thought, isn't it? You really have to pause and let that sink in.
It really does underscore the potential speed and scale of this disruption. We tend to think change is gradual, but history shows these incredibly rapid shifts can happen when a truly transformative technology hits.
Now, While that potential for disruption is definitely there, there's also the optimistic view, the idea that AI can augment our intellect, right? Process massive amounts of data at speeds we just can't match.
Oh, absolutely. That's definitely true. AI is fantastic at pattern recognition, handling vast data sets that would completely overwhelm any person. It can be an incredibly powerful tool for analysis, for accelerating discovery in science, medicine, you name it.
But it's also kind of limited right now by the data we feed it, yeah.
Yeah.
It can only really simulate things humans already know how to do for the most part.
For now, yes,
Yes.
largely. The current capabilities are built on that foundation of human knowledge and data. However, as we were just saying with complexity, the interactions and evolution of these systems could lead to breakthroughs beyond our current understanding.
Yeah.
But building on your point about autonomy, this leads us to the crucial question of, well, what about the downsides, the risks?
Well, yeah. The dangers of autonomous agents with maybe poorly defined goals are certainly a worry. You hear about the classic thought experiment, the paperclip maximizer.
Oh, yeah.
An AI tasked only with making paperclips efficiently ends up consuming all resources on Earth, including us, to achieve that single goal. It sounds absurd, but it illustrates the risk of an AI relentlessly pursuing a narrow objective with unforeseen, potentially catastrophic consequences.
What's fascinating and maybe scary there is the inherent risk in giving autonomy without perfectly aligning the AI's goals with human values. Even a tiny misunderstanding or a slightly off objective could spiral into really harmful outcomes.
And then there's the deliberate misuse. I mean, imagine highly sophisticated scams, personalized con artists using AI's understanding of our individual psychology, our vulnerabilities. It's honestly a bit chilling to think about.
Hmm.
Even early on, remember GPT-2, that early language model, OpenAI initially hesitated to release it publicly. They were worried about potential misuse, like generating fake news for election interference or creating sophisticated financial fraud schemes.
That early caution really highlights the fact that, yeah, this tech is a double-edged sword. And of course, the motivations for keeping powerful tech private, whether it's for profit or control, that's always something to keep in the back of your mind, too.
Which brings us, I guess, to the really big question that's probably on everyone's mind. Job displacement. Which jobs are most at risk, according to these discussions?
Well, the consensus seems to point towards routine jobs, things involving repetitive computer tasks, think quality assurance testing, data entry.
Even professions like accounting, maybe?
Potentially significant changes there, yes.
Yeah.
Basically, if a job primarily involves processing information in a predictable, rule-based way, whether it's text in, text out, or even tasks involving images, it's likely to be susceptible to automation by these AI agents.
We also heard some pretty striking statistics, like people with college degrees are already using AI more, which suggests this could actually widen the economic divide.
That's a serious concern.
And historically, automation has disproportionately impacted women and folks with only a high school diploma. Plus, the whole business process outsourcing industry, where many routine tasks moved from Western countries to places like India and the Philippines, that looks particularly vulnerable too.
Those stats do paint a concerning picture regarding potential economic disruption and increased inequality. It's not all negative, though. It's worth considering the emerging industry of actually training AI systems. That could create new kinds of jobs requiring human expertise to guide and refine these agents.
Right, teaching the AI. That's interesting. The concept of AI as general intelligence, or AGI, also came up a lot.
Yeah, often described as AI that can generally do anything a human can intellectually.
And then there's the singularity, that sort of hypothetical point where technological growth becomes uncontrollable, irreversible, fundamentally and unpredictably altering human civilization. Someone used the invention of the tractor as a kind of historical example. Not the singularity itself, but a tech that caused a massive society-altering shift in farming and, well, everything.
The key idea with the singularity concept is this exponential self-reinforcing change. Once an AI, an AGI, can actually improve its own intelligence, the rate of progress could become almost impossible for us to predict or even comprehend. And we humans, we tend to underestimate the long-term consequences of these truly transformative technologies.
Yeah, we do. It feels like we're shifting from the Industrial Revolution, which largely disrupted physical labor, our muscles, to this new era where AI is disrupting intellectual labor, our minds.
That's a good way to put it.
So if AI can handle so much of the thinking and doing, what becomes truly important for humans? The idea of agency was raised.
Agency, yeah. The ability to get things done. to set goals and then coordinate the resources, potentially including AI agents, to actually achieve them.
So it's about being the director, not just an actor.
Exactly. In a future where AI capabilities are widespread, the ability to define objectives, strategize effectively, and skillfully leverage these AI tools to reach your goals, that's what agency really becomes. It's about being the one who directs the AI orchestra, so to speak.
But there's a fascinating, maybe slightly unsettling twist here too, isn't there? Even our own human agency could potentially be eroded as AI agents get so good at anticipating our needs, automating tasks, maybe even before we consciously realize we need something done.
That's a really interesting paradox. Yes. While AI has this immense potential to empower us, it also carries the risk of making us more passive recipients of its abilities. It could potentially diminish our own sense of purpose or control.
And the question of whether AI will ever be truly conscious was also touched on briefly.
Right. The idea being, look, even if AI doesn't develop genuine consciousness like ours, if its behavior becomes indistinguishable from consciousness, the practical implications for society might end up being pretty much the same.
So, how it acts matters more than what it feels, potentially.
From a purely practical societal impact standpoint, yes. The outward behavior and the capabilities are what really shape things. The underlying philosophical question of internal experience is profound, but maybe less immediately impactful than what these agents can do.
Okay. Now, it's not all, doom and gloom. There are definitely optimistic viewpoints out there. The idea that AI could potentially raise the overall global intelligence, even improve our emotional intelligence by, say, helping us refine how we communicate.
The potential for AI to democratize knowledge, provide highly personalized learning tailored to each individual, that's huge. And in fields like healthcare, imagine faster, more accurate diagnoses, extending access to medical expertise in remote or underserved areas. That could be transformative.
We heard examples, too, of AI having a real positive impact on individuals already. Elderly users finding new ways to connect, to engage, streamlining incredibly complex business deals like mergers and acquisitions, saving huge amounts of time and effort.
Absolutely, those positive use cases are real.
But then we circle back to the darker side again. That potential for massively increased inequality. The analogy someone used was a Formula One race car competing against someone whose shoes are tied together. It really highlights how those who can effectively leverage AI might gain a colossal advantage over those who can't.
It's a stark image, but it captures the risk, the potential for a hyper-creative, AI-empowered elite emerging alongside a largely consuming majority. That's a valid and significant concern. And if the negative applications, the misuse, the abuse cases end up outweighing the positive contributions, well, we could face some really serious societal challenges.
So, given this really uncertain future, how do we best prepare? What came up?
The overwhelming theme was the need for continuous learning and adaptability. It's crucial.
Lifelong learning.
Exactly. It was suggested that broad general skills, critical thinking, problem-solving, creativity might become more valuable than highly specific, narrow specializations that could be automated away. Some would even mention fostering high-agency generalists in kids. Through activities that build strategic thinking and resilience, like chess, or martial arts like jiu-jitsu, even encouraging entrepreneurial thinking, learning how to identify problems and build solutions.
Interesting. So, be adaptable, keep learning, focus on agency.
That seems to be the core message. The ability to constantly acquire new knowledge, think critically across different domains, and just adapt readily to rapid change, those will likely be essential survival skills in this evolving landscape.
There seems to be a pretty strong consensus, though, that the rise of AI isn't really an if, it's a when. It's inevitable.
That feeling definitely comes across.
But there's also this palpable sense of sadness, almost, among some speakers about the lack of preparedness societally and the potential for really significant disruption. The importance of thinking very deeply right now about how to prevent AI and market forces from leading to new forms of what some even called enslavement. That's a really strong word, and it carries a lot of emotional weight.
It does. And it highlights that the ethical considerations, the urgent need for thoughtful governance are absolutely paramount. We can't just let this technological wave wash over us without carefully considering its profound impact on human dignity, on fairness, on the kind of society we want to live in.
On the specific topic of job displacement, what were some suggestions, besides lifelong learning?
Well, focusing on educating people about how these AI systems actually work came up. Not necessarily turning everyone into a coder, but fostering a basic understanding. Helping people identify how their existing skills, their expertise, might be transferable to new roles, even roles that don't exist yet.
Right, because we don't even know what all the new jobs will be.
Exactly. Which again reinforces that need for a fundamental shift in education toward continuous re-education and upskilling throughout one's career.
Finally, some key fears were kind of listed out. What were the big ones?
Interestingly, truly malevolent AI, like Skynet, was actually the lowest concern for many.
Oh, okay.
Higher on the list were things like misaligned AI, where its goals just don't match ours, leading to bad outcomes. The potential derangement of human intellect, sometimes called truth erosion, thanks to AI-generated misinformation. A rise in AI-enabled crime and theft, and the acceleration of already dangerous demographic or geopolitical trends, including, worryingly, the development of autonomous weapons.
Yeah, those are serious concerns. Definitely evokes a sense of unease, putting it mildly.
They really underscore the magnitude of the challenges. While the potential benefits were immense, the risks are equally significant and demand our careful attention, proactive planning, and just very thoughtful consideration.
But amidst all those concerns, the fundamental promise of AI still remains incredibly compelling, doesn't it?
It does.
The potential benefits in healthcare, faster diagnoses, better access in education with personalized AI tutoring, those are truly significant possibilities. And the idea of AI taking over the dehumanizing repetitive jobs, potentially freeing up humans for more fulfilling creative work, that's still very much on the table, too.
Absolutely.
My own little experience with Replet, building that pocket money tracking app in minutes with zero coding, it really shows the power of these tools to empower individuals, to let them create and solve problems in ways they couldn't before.
That democratization of technology, the potential for AI to empower individuals to tackle challenges and generate value, that's definitely one of the most exciting possibilities we're looking at.
So, okay, to try and summarize this deep dive, AI agents are clearly a powerful and incredibly rapidly evolving technology. They hold the potential for massive disruption, both good and bad.
Hmm.
The future job market will be significantly impacted, that seems unavoidable, requiring us all to be more adaptable and to really cultivate that sense of agency we talked about.
I think the crucial takeaway is that we are at a truly transformative moment.
Yeah.
There's no denying it. It demands both excitement for the incredible opportunities ahead, but also a very sober, realistic assessment of the inherent risks. Our ability to adapt, to keep learning, and perhaps most importantly, to thoughtfully guide the development and deployment of AI that will ultimately shape the outcome for all of us.
And on that note, I really encourage you, our listener, to take some time to consider your own role in this rapidly changing landscape. How can you proactively prepare for a world that's going to be increasingly shaped by AI agents? Think about it. See you soon with another guide like this.